Welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Wrestling. It is our 99th show. Can you believe we've almost done 100 of these? It's kind of hard to believe. But anyway, I'm Steve, and I'm joined as always by my tag team partner in this endeavor, the great Doc Gregory. Doc, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing quite well. And yeah, I've also wondered, like, if you go and look through our shows, you would be able to see my beard growth and trims, my hair growth. I mean, we've been doing this for over 2 years now. So yeah, but it feels good. Episode 99, I got some good things to announce about episode 100 coming up the next time. If it's not next week, you never know, what's going to get thrown on the road to our 100th show, so you never know. It could be this week, could be the next week after that. But I got something lined up for it, and hopefully we can get that all settled out. But I'm ready to go with this week's show. It's brought to you by some good drinks and bacon and maple sandwich cream cookies. So if you have a better cookie than this, I want you to tell me you have a better cookie than this. This is sold by the Giants and Martins around our area, and it tastes like a freaking pancake. It is a delicious freaking cookie. I'm telling you, man, go out and try something. If you can find something similar, get this cookie. It is awesome.
And for those of you who might be skeptical about it, let me just clarify. It's bacon and a cookie. So how can you get any better than that? You have like two of the best things ever married into one thing. Come on.
Oh, don't forget the maple syrup.
And maple syrup. Forget about it. It's a triple threat.
Hey, bada bing, bada boom. How you doing?
Hey, is maple syrup in it for real? Forget about it. So let's begin our weekly foray into the world of professional wrestling, as we usually do, Doc, by answering some viewer questions. What do you say?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. We had a few here. So let's start with Dan Habal, who says, will we ever get a Hollywood Rock versus Hollywood Batista match in the WWE?
Oh, I wouldn't hold my breath. I don't expect to ever see that. For one thing, I don't know. I mean, it seems like whenever Rock comes back, he's always going to be a babyface. I mean, Hollywood Rock was a heel gimmick, you know. I mean, I think I personally, I think it would be pretty cool if Rock came back one of these times for one of his, occasional appearances and turned heel. I think that would be hilarious because I loved Hollywood Rock. That was one of my favorite phases of his career, and Hollywood Dave, Hollywood Batista was hilarious too. So, I mean, it would be awesome. I would love to see it, but I just don't think so. I mean, I kind of don't think Batista's coming back. He might, I don't know. But I mean, if his movie career keeps taking off, I don't know if Batista's coming back. I mean, whenever he mentions wrestling in interviews nowadays, it's always, sort of talking about the reasons why he left and why he would only come back basically if they would just let him do whatever he wanted and they wouldn't script his promos and they wouldn't book him to lose half the time. And, like he seemed like he was really unhappy with his last run. He didn't think that they used him the right way, which I kind of agree with him. So I don't think it's ever going to happen, but it could be awesome, if it ever did. What do you think, Doc?
Well, it's the wrestling business. You never say never.
True.
Rock seems to still be going strong in the Hollywood industry and kicking out blockbuster after blockbuster, getting great roles, and still finding time to come back to WWE to wrestle or squash, one of the Wyatt family members, But he still finds time to do that. And you got Batista, whose latest film, I believe, is that one with the comedy chick where she loses all her riches, but she punches. He's a security guard. He gets punches in the balls like so many times. He picks her up and she keeps punching him in the balls. So that's Batista's. I mean, yes, he did great on Guardians of the Galaxy. I'll give you that. That's probably his biggest role to date was Guardians of the Galaxy. But his current one is getting punches in the ball by comedy actors, and they comedy. So you tell me who really is Hollywood? Is it The Rock or So, I mean, let's theoretically say this match happens because, you never say never. It doesn't matter what you think because The Rock is going to win that one, over Batista. So, and that's probably why Batista, you'll never see it because Batista knows that if he ever had to go up against The Rock, that he's going to have to do the job. I mean, it depends on the paycheck, and really, that's really, I mean, depending upon what kind of dollar you're going to drop for me, I'll do the job for anybody. I mean, and I'm low dollar.
That's true. I mean, if Vince really wanted to do that match and he backed a dump truck full of money up to Batista's house, I'm sure we would see the match. But I just, I don't think it's ever going to happen. But like you say, never say never.
Never say never. Our next question comes from our good friend Donovan Frey, who says, after WrestleMania, they'd like to shake things up by bringing new talent into the fray. Bad puns aside, let's say in an alternate reality, Vince bought TNA and said, Doc, Steve, we're going to have a draft. If you were to send 5 superstars or 5 employees, I don't care who you send, to TNA and steal or rescue 5 people from TNA, who would be your draft picks and why?
Well, okay. I actually did some preparation for this question, which I don't usually do, but there's no way I would have been able to pick 5 good people off the top of my head for both sides of this question. So I decided to look at it like a brand split where, if Vince buys TNA, then let's decide that, well, Vince is going to run TNA and try to make a go of it and try to make it good. So I picked a combination of people who both haven't really been doing much in the WWE and also that I think would be like a good backbone for kind of a rejuvenated TNA. So 5 people from WWE that I would send to TNA would be Dolph Ziggler, Jack Swagger, Curtis Axel, Summer Rae, and Natalya. I think Natalya is doing fine where she is, but I think I would like to put her in there for the knockouts division to give them a little bit more of a solid worker to build around. And the other ones are just people that I just think haven't had a chance to really do much and show their stuff and get ahead in WWE. So those are my 5 to TNA. My 5 from TNA to WWE would be James Storm, because Bobby Roode's probably signing anyway, so you might as well have them both. Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards, a great tag team. And then 2 of the knockouts that I like, Jade and Marty Bell, I think would be good in the WWE Women's Division. So those are my draft picks. What about you, Doc?
Well, I'm a little bit greedy, I guess. I kind of go with some inner feelings. Let's send some people to TNA, all right? Let's send the Hype Brothers to TNA, Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley. I think, I don't know what the tag team division looks like over in TNA, but it certainly could use some type of hype, I'm sure. And, since we're sending over a tag team, let's go ahead and send over the Ascension, because they haven't been doing a whole hell of a lot, and that adds a little flavor into the mix, something of a gimmick to TNA. Tyler Breeze, I think, would do well. He seems to have fallen flat, either sending back to NXT or, if TNA was a buyout, there's an alternative. And my ultimate pick to send to TNA, is because this guy would be in charge of TNA. Even though we have William Regal, this guy is the booker. TNA and William Regal is kind of like, sending talent, like organizing matches, but this guy's the booker. Paul Heyman goes to TNA, and he's in charge. Oh, see, Paul Heyman. Oh, see,
I like that.
Right
I
there.
like that. Anytime you say put Paul Heyman in charge of creative, I'm saying that's a good idea.
And he takes one wrestler and he hypes him up. I mean, he could do the same thing for anything. He could take Mr. Hanky from South Park and make that turd the best thing on earth.
Hell yeah.
Let's go from TNA. Let's see. I would send a guy I think who deserves it, The Abyss. I would bring back over the Pope.
Yeah, I like that.
I am looking back at a huge miss at EC3 and Drew Galloway. Huge misses there, guys. Just didn't invest enough time with those gentlemen. You notice I'm missing the Hardy Boys because I don't give two shits about the Hardy Boys.
Yeah.
And I would bring over my favorite diva, or my favorite knockout, I should say, Velvet Sky. I love Velvet Sky. I don't know why, but I love the Sky. And plus, she's got, Bubba there. So they're dating, and you son of a bitch. Bubba and Sky are dating. Good for you, brother. But that's why I'd bring her over. I think she has, she would fit the women's
Yeah.
division.
And you know what? If you brought over Velvet and Madison Rain, you could also have Charlotte and Summer Rae and Sasha reform the BFFs from NXT, and you could do the BFFs versus the Beautiful People.
So
There you go. Right?
that one's free, WWE.
Yeah. Come on.
For all you writers sitting there going, how do I push Roman Reigns? I don't know how we do it. I don't know. I'm trying. I don't know. Anything I write, let's put him with a big star this week.
Exactly. Anybody who works for that company who's going, how do we push Roman Reigns, should be fucking fired. The fact that they don't know how to push Roman Reigns is ridiculous. I mean, they've completely fucked him up, and there's no excuse for it. Anyway.
I'm going to throw my glasses on for this last question here from my good friend Mamadou Diallo, who says, "Hey Doc and Steve, your most memorable Balls Mahoney moment."
Oh yeah, because Balls unfortunately died before his time this week. It's very yet another wrestler gone before their time. It's very sad. Well, Doc, I know you have a story to tell. I hate to say this. I hate to use this moment, but the one that instantly came to mind, and it's kind of not. It's not like a great Balls Mahoney moment, but it's one that I just thought of. That was a fun moment in an otherwise kind of not so great show. When TNA did their ECW reunion show like 5 or 6 years ago, Hardcore Justice, which was weird because they couldn't even use most of the names because they're all WWE trademarks. So Balls actually wrestled as Cajones on that show because he couldn't call himself Balls Mahoney. But he had it was a match between Balls Mahoney and Axel Rotten and the Dudley Boys, or Team 3D. And right in the middle of the match, Bubba and Balls have a lightsaber duel. They have like weapons. They're like kendo sticks, but they're painted like lightsabers. And they have a fucking lightsaber duel in the middle of the match. It was absolutely silly and foolish. And if it was on like a big important show, I would have hated it. But it was just a one-time only ECW reunion show, and it was just fun. So that's the moment I'm picking. But Doc, I know you have a Balls Mahoney story to tell. So go for it.
Quick shout out to friends, like Luke Gallows and Blue Meanie, friends of mine I've grown up with in this business, who also, send their thoughts and prayers, what have you, to the family of Balls Mahoney. I mean, mine, you think yours isn't a great story. I mean, mine, it's how you look at it. Because it was in my early days of wrestling, and we had, a few people like the late Bam Bam Bigelow, and Balls Mahoney was in the room, and we had two midgets in the room, and there was a couple indie guys, and me and my tag team partner Tommy Acton as Weird Science, we were in the room. This is a hotel room after one of our shows. We had a good show. I'm not going to name the promotion, but we were all just kind of hanging out in the room, and Bam Bam opens up the briefcase and pulls us out the largest in my life, still to date, largest bag of marijuana I have ever seen. Balls is pretty lit up, and not on marijuana, but he's been drinking. Those guys like to party. It was the '90s, and he felt a little constipated, I guess, and felt like he needed to take a shit, and he needed something to wipe his ass with. So he opened up, as all hotels mostly do. He opened up the inside drawer and pulled out the Gideon Bible, Proceeded to go through it and ripped out the pages, saying that it was all bullshit anyway, so might as well add shit to it. And so he wiped his ass with the Bible. But we were all just having fun and shits and giggles and that and all that. But yeah, it is a sad moment when we lose. It seems like we've lost. I mean, it's only April. We've lost like 6 or 7 wrestlers. I mean, Blackjack Mulligan also passed away this week.
Yeah.
Or at least the past week. So I mean, they just been seem like dropping off like so quickly, which is sad. But yeah, I mean, apparently Balls took a pretty bad fall a couple days ago. These are the early reports, and just felt ill quickly and passed away. So those reports will come out, and I'm sure we'll. If the smart fan, doesn't find out first, we'll explain that to you when it comes. So, but yeah, Balls Mahoney was a real trip to hang around, man. I mean, he was a good guy, and he always meant well, and never no harm. So, it's just another hardcore legend, man. That we can just enjoy his work on WWE Network or YouTube.
Yeah, it's really a shame. I I hadn't heard that story before, but as soon as you said he opened the drawer, I thought, "Oh, please get the Bible, please." Like I knew that was where the story was going, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's where I thought it was going." Yeah, and thanks for mentioning Blackjack too, because yeah, Blackjack Mulligan died in the last couple of days as well. Of course, that's Barry Windham's daddy, and Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas's granddaddy, and just one of the all-time greats, one of the great stars of the 70s. One half of the Blackjacks, along with Blackjack Lanza, and just a great, great career, and another, sad loss to the business. So yeah. Shit, man,
But as I always say, though, it's the experience of life. The older you get, the more people you know that will die.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
Mm-hmm. That's a hard, cold fact of life, But the last person that you will realize is dying is you.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, wait a minute.
Or the famous Graham moment in Monty Python's Flying Circus, where he just looks up and goes, "Struth." You might not know it, but if you're a Monty Python Flying Circus fan, you know that whole Struth where Graham Chapman looks up, and that's right before he's like shocked or surprised or dies.
Yeah. So let's talk about something less depressing than the imminent death of you and me and everyone we know. Let's talk about Raw, because Raw was actually, I think for the second week in a row, Raw was actually pretty decent. Actually, I thought this week's episode was better than last week's, to tell you the truth. Raw was live this week from Los Angeles, California, and usually the LA crowds I don't think are very good. Every time they do a big show in LA, I'm usually like, if the crowd seems kind of cold to me, but this crowd was pretty good for the most part. They seem really into it. And the show begins with Shane McMahon coming out. Shane is back to run Raw for this week as well, because we are told massive social media support after he ran the show last week. And also because the stipulations to matches don't mean shit. They built up a match with The Undertaker for 2 months. Shane lost the match. He's running Raw anyway, because fuck stipulations.
The memes are out there galore with The Undertaker, like with looks of surprise, like I went through all that shit for what? And it's amazing, despite like this is the original storyline. It's like what they expected ratings would be up. That was the original storyline they were going with, that ratings would be up, and that's why Shane was running a second week. But quickly they turned that around to a huge social media output. That's why Shane's running it.
Yeah, because they couldn't say ratings, because the ratings were not up last week. But yeah, it's weird. It's like, okay, so why didn't you just book Shane to win the match? Like, that's the frustrating part, because I think this week was a good episode, and I think part of what made it good was I liked the way they were using Shane in that role as like the guy in charge. I think he's good at that, and I think it's a fresh sort of character. I think it's better to have Shane coming out and running things, and he has a different relationship on screen with the wrestlers than Triple H and Stephanie had. Like I'm on board with the whole thing so far.
Well, Shane's
But
not tarnished either, like the rest
yeah,
of them.
great point.
He's not stained. You know, the rest of them have done so much evil that how can you look at them as turning themselves around? Shane still has that guiding light, although he has done some shady shit, but haven't most people in wrestling. Most of the stuff he's done, I mean, I can't recall it out of my memory, but but I'm
Yeah.
sure he's done it.
Yeah, Shane. Yeah, you're right. Because Shane was gone for almost 7 years, which Jim Cornette says is the statute of limitations in wrestling. Like, if something happened 7 years ago, or longer than 7 years ago, you might as well just say it never happened, and you can bring it back, and everything's cool. So yeah, I'm totally on board with what they're doing with Shane. It just makes no sense from a storytelling perspective. It's like they're doing the right thing, but in doing so, they're highlighting one of the major problems with their show, which is their storytelling is terrible, and they keep sending the message over and over again that what happens in these matches isn't important. Even when you tell people, oh no, but seriously, this one's really important. Like if Shane loses this match, then he's history. Well, okay, he lost the match, but fuck it, let him run Raw anyway, But anyway, Shane's back in charge, and he comes out to start the show this week. And he runs down the card for tonight, the matches that he has set up, including Natalya challenging Charlotte for the women's title. And there's going to be a #1 contenders tournament for the tag team titles, which is awesome. I love to see that. I love tournaments, and I love having teams or wrestlers have to do something to earn title shots. I think that's how it should always be. And there's also going to be a match between AJ Styles and Sami Zayn, because Sami Zayn was supposed to be in the #1 contenders match last week, but he was attacked by Kevin Owens and couldn't get in. So Shane is making it good by saying, okay, Sami, you wrestle the guy who won the match last week, AJ Styles. And if you win, then you get entered into the main event of Payback. And it'll be a triple threat match between Roman Reigns and Styles and Sami Zayn. So those are the big matches that he made so far. But someone comes out to complain about this, and that someone is Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens says this is bullshit, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Sami Zayn doesn't deserve a shot at anything. He doesn't deserve a shot at the main event. He's a loser. And what about me? I got screwed out of my Intercontinental title in a ladder match. I never got a rematch. I never got a shot at the main event of Payback or a shot at Roman Reigns. What about me? So Shane says, okay, you're right. You know what? You do deserve an opportunity, but when I'm running the show here, you can't just walk in and demand stuff. You have to earn your spot. So you're going to have a match against Cesaro, and the winner of that match gets a shot at The Miz and the Intercontinental title. So yet again, we have a situation where guys can earn their title shot, which I think is just terrific. And by the way, that match is right now. So Cesaro comes out. But before we talk about the match, what do you think about this opening segment with Shane and Kevin Owens?
Well, I thought everything up to the point before Kevin Owens come out was bang on. What was great, man. It's what I wanted to hear from Shane McMahon about where wrestling is going, announcing some great matches. What we're going to see tonight is a great opener, not like we're in charge and you have to do what we say, da, 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 and you're going to have to bow down to us, and and we're in control. Just deal with it. So it was refreshing. Kevin Owens comes down and gives Shane McMahon a valid point, man. It's traditional, brother. The guy who just lost the title gets a rematch for the title. Not only did Kevin Owens not get pinned for that title, he's got to what? He's got to wrestle another match now to prove that he's worthy of getting involved with a match. I mean, what? What? I'm serious. I mean, he, by all rights, traditionally, and if you want to throw tradition out the window, Shane McMahon, or whoever's writing this, or Vince McMahon, or whoever's in charge, whoever, it's like the country. I don't know who the fuck's in charge.
Somebody's in charge.
But whatever. If you want to throw tradition out the window, then just fucking do it. You do it willy nilly and for guys like me who love wrestling and who are so old school, we pick up on that so damn quick. It might be great for the new fan and all that, but it's like, what about honestly? What about me, the guy who's been there from that new fan, from that
Mhm.
guy who was a teenage kid or younger, watching his first WrestleMania, and now I'm almost 42 years old, still talking about your product because I love it so much that I cannot watch it. So it's insane what they want to give us. No, Kevin Owens is completely right. You need to give him the Intercontinental rematch, not have to wrestle through this bullshit. It doesn't go his way anyways. We're going to get to that, but
Yeah.
still, the guy is deserved this match. It's his right. You know, I'm a traditionalist, man. It's my heritage, and I will never, ever give up on my heritage. It is the right of every wrestler who has lost a belt to always come back and try to regain that title. It is his human right as the former champion, and I will always stand for justice.
I think Owens needs to come out next week and cut that promo. He needs to come out and get all self-righteous. What about wrestling tradition? What about my rematch? That's how he has to go. Yeah, so let's talk about the match, because the match is Cesaro and Kevin Owens, and Cesaro has a new entrance with like a James Bond graphic behind him on the screen as he walks out, the down the barrel of the gun, like in a James Bond movie as he walks out. The tearaway suit, walks out in a suit and then just rips it off like a fucking stripper. But it's cool. I really dig it. I love the whole thing. And the match is great. They get about 15 minutes and they really go to town. There are some really cool spots, like Owens uses a crippler crossface at one point. Cesaro gets the sharpshooter on at one point. Owens busts out a fucking frog splash, which is cool. And then Cesaro, of course, hits that springboard spinning European uppercut thing that he does, where he's basically like a missile fucking twirling around, and he nails him with the uppercut. And then the finish is Cesaro is selling his shoulder, which he had taped up. And Owens was working the shoulder and working the arm throughout the match. And Cesaro goes for the giant swing, and he can't quite get it going because of the bad arm. So Owens gets up, hits him in the arm, goes for the pop-up power bomb. Cesaro slips away and hits the neutralizer and gets the pin. So Cesaro beats Kevin Owens and earns a shot at the Intercontinental title. Really, really, really good match, I thought. What did you think?
I thought this was one of the best matches of the night. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, really, if you're looking at one way that the promotion has woke up, and possibly woke up. I mean, it could be just sleepwalking. But woke up. It's like Cesaro is back, and
Yeah.
they did not forget about him. And almost immediately, they feed him Kevin Owens to get to the Intercontinental Championship match. So that screams a lot to me, that they believe in this guy, or have not forgotten about him. It's just a mishap, an injury, kind of held him back a little bit. They were initially going to push him, whatever. Got a new T-shirt.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I almost ripped it the fuck off while I was ripping his suit off. But you know, I mean, they went through their moves and everything, which was great, and we got to see the uppercut, uppercut, uppercut. You know, all the big hits, and I think this will be an interesting feud because the Intercontinental Champion, of course, is Miz, and we have Cesaro, who was they were a former tag team, so it makes sense. And Kevin Owens, of course, who ran out last week about having a heavyweight championship match, obviously doesn't really belong in trying to get the Intercontinental title anymore.
Yeah, I would like to see them move Owens up permanently, get him into the world title picture. Kevin Owens beating the shit out of Roman Reigns is kind of a fantasy of mine at this point. I know they're never going to do that. I think they're probably going to go with Roman for a little while at least. But I mean, if I was booking, it's not unheard of that, you know, it's not impossible that I would be like, hey, here's what we're doing. Kevin Owens is going to beat the shit out of Roman Reigns and win the title, because that's just the way it's going to go. I, of course,
I think Shane should have actually told Kevin that, you know, because you walked out and demanded a shot or a chance at getting at the World Heavyweight Championship, you relinquished any rights you had to the Intercontinental Belt, and that's why
yeah.
you have to do this.
Yeah, that would be a better explanation, because usually they say it's in their contract, right? They say he's invoking his rematch clause, which means it's in your contract, which means, like you were saying, I mean, they have that right. Like legally, he has to get a title shot. So yeah, something like that I think would have been a better explanation. Yeah. So okay, now next there's this backstage segment with Ric Flair and Charlotte, where at first it's Ric Flair and Charlotte, and they're both kind of taking turns complaining about how Charlotte has to fight Natalya, and Ric's like, man, Natalya's not even close to as good as you are. Like, why do you have to wrestle Natalya? And then Dr. Phil walks up. And I know they advertised Dr. Phil last week. They said, hey, Dr. Phil's going to be here next week. But still, it's just weird to be like backstage with Ric Flair and Charlotte, and all of a sudden fucking Dr. Phil comes walking up. He's like, hey, can I get in on this? I should confess, by the way, that I watch Dr. Phil. All right. That's one of my guilty pleasures. So I know Dr. Phil and I watch Dr. Phil. So Dr. Phil appearing on wrestling is like, what? Like, they're crossing over. So anyway, Dr. Phil goes up to Charlotte and he's like, you need to stop relying on your daddy to cheat for you and win matches. You need to stand on your own 2 feet as the athlete and the champion that I know you can be. And Charlotte's like, fuck you. And Ric Flair is getting in Dr. Phil's face like, fuck you, Dr. Phil. And he tries to start wooing at Dr. Phil, but Dr. Phil woos right back at him. And Rick is like, well, whatever, I'm out of here. It sounds like it was a terrible segment, but I actually really liked it. And the reason I liked it is because Dr. Phil took it seriously. He didn't come in and make a joke out of it. He wasn't like he was making fun of wrestling, like a lot of celebrities are when they come in, especially when celebrities come in and they're not like, you know, going to wrestle. Like when the guy from Green Arrow was in last year, like he kind of took it pretty seriously, but he was going to be in a match. But usually when they bring celebrities in to kind of fuck with the wrestlers, they always make a joke out of it. And Dr. Phil seemed like he was taking it seriously. You know, he was talking to Charlotte like she was an athlete, like she was a champion, like she was a fighter. You know, and I really appreciated that. So as crazy as it sounds, I actually thought the Dr. Phil segment worked and I enjoyed it. What did you think of it, Doctor?
Well, wrestling's all psychology, and Dr. Phil took it psychologically and he played off of the storylines. He stayed right in tune with what's going on, what the storylines are, and he's told the story a million times on this show. I mean, what, are you crazy? He's always talked about the dysfunction of other people's families, and he always cares about it. And if you're just like, I don't know, if you're wondering why he was actually on the show, maybe you should just closely listen to the way he talks and realize that he probably likes NASCAR too. Yeah, I enjoyed that very much. That sketch was very, very good. So yeah, I didn't mind Dr. Phil. It was awkward in a few points, and yeah, I watched Dr. Phil a long time ago, but since then, you know, since I knew he was like just, you know, a piece of shit on the end of Oprah's shoe, that I really just I stopped following all that crap. You know, I kind of stick with reality and not like, let's see how we can get your emotions to pour out on fucking television.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I say, it's a guilty pleasure for me. You know, Dr. Phil really is no different than Jerry Springer. It's just a different presentation. Like he pretends to be more legitimate, but it's really, it's the same shtick. It's getting people who have problems in their life to pour out, to spill their guts on TV so the rest of us can watch. You know, so
are you crazy? I mean, Dr. Phil's like, let me get you a cry, get you a box of tissues, and Jerry Springer's like, punch that bitch.
yeah, it's the same. It's a freak show. It's like, look at these people. You know, it's aren't you glad you don't have their problems? You know, but yeah, I thought Dr. Phil did really good. on the show this week, because he took it seriously, and because he talked to the wrestlers like they were athletes and like they were legitimate fighters. He wasn't making fun of it, and he wasn't constantly like, "Oh, wrestling's so stupid, right? Wrestling's fake. Everybody knows wrestling's fake, right?" He didn't do any of that. He took it totally seriously. Anyway, next was the first match in the tag team tournament. But first, the New Day came out to introduce it and to tell us that the tournament is sponsored by Bootios. So the New Day, they're like, "Hey, somebody's gonna fight us for our tag titles." Who? I love when they do that.
Yeah.
So I thought, I don't know, it was a short segment. It was a short promo from New Day, just to sort of come out and get them on the show, and just be like, "Hey, we're here and we're the champions and we're going to fight the winners of this tournament." And then they kind of just went off to the side. But the
nice socks.
Yeah, they even have the tournament graphic like with Bootios, like it's they're the sponsor. Like Bootios is the corporate sponsor of the tag team #1 contenders tournament. I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, apparently at JBL, Bootios are horrible. But I swear, they will come out with a Bootios cereal, and I am going to buy it just to try it.
Yeah, I would not be surprised at all if they did, and I would try it too because I like the New Day a lot. I would buy it just to support the guys, Okay, so the first tournament match was the Dudley Boys versus the Lucha Dragons. And it's not much of a match. It's only a couple of minutes. And the Dudleys win when they pin Sin Cara after a 3D. And the story of the match was that Kalisto took a clothesline. He took a hard clothesline on the outside and kind of hit his head on the floor. So he was like injured for most of the match. And I don't think he's really hurt. I think it was all a work. But the story was that Kalisto was kind of knocked loopy. So Sin Cara had to carry the match, and he wound up losing to the Dudleys. Which I don't know what their plans are. That could be a good building block to breaking up the Lucha Dragons. Like maybe Sin Cara gets pissed off that he had to carry the match and Kalisto, like sort of bailed on him. That could be something. And then after the match, after the Dudleys win, Enzo and Cass come out again, and they go back and forth with the Dudleys some more. And I thought that was really funny. There's a line from the Dudleys say to Enzo and Cass, Bubba says to Enzo and Cass, like, "You guys wouldn't even be here if it weren't for us." And Enzo says, "I'm here because my parents got it on," which I thought,
my mom and dad got it on. Bada boom, how you doing?
Yeah, exactly. I love Enzo. So I thought this was good. The match wasn't anything special, but it possibly maybe had a building block for a future story with the Lucha Dragons, and it continued things between the Dudleys and Enzo and Cass. So I thought this was all good. What do you think?
Well, it was quick and to the point. Obviously we're moving on. The Dudleys moving on to a feud with Enzo and Cass. Lucha Dragons were fed to them, and not just both of them, just one. And so you're right. The building blocks are there, and I've been saying that for a couple episodes now that this is what they should do. That they should build some type of jealousy and break this tag team up. That way we can see a great lucha fucking match. They should have done this by WrestleMania, which would have been nice to see a great lucha libre match going on at WrestleMania. But we got time to build it up. Maybe SummerSlam is coming. But the seeds are there. It depends on whether or not they even realize what they're doing. And it might have just been writing for stupid ass storylines for Dudley Boys and Enzo, and like they didn't even actually figure the fucking Lucha Dragons into it. Like, let's just hate them. Who cares? We can. They're our fucking our jobber team, and I know people don't like jobbers anymore. It's enhanced talent now.
Or extras, as I think Vince used to call them, or he called them for a little while when Vince thought he was a movie maker. They're not jobbers. It's not enhancement talent. They're extras. Okay, whatever.
But I did like, I do like Bubba's jawing during the matches, yelling and screaming, and you can clearly hear what he says. He tells Devon to shoot him in, and they go for the 3D. So I like that kind of stuff. It gives me a little intake on what's going on in the ring and their communication. Besides going, I heard that he said springboard and drop kick.
Yeah, Bubba is really good at that. Yeah, and Bubba does, like you said, Bubba does it a little different than Kevin Owens does it, because Kevin Owens talks during his matches too, and he's just like trash talking. But Bubba does that bit where if he's in the tag team match, it's like he's directing the match. He's like telling Devon what to do and sort of setting things up. It's like they're communicating, you know. So it's a little different. But I like that too. I think any time that you can add an added dose of sort of a layer of reality to it, you know, because if let's face it, if there was such a thing as a tag team match in real life and it was you and your partner against two other guys and you were having a real fight, I mean, you and your partner would probably be talking to each other all the time. You know, you wouldn't just
the
be
80s used to do this shit all the time where they'd go over and they would like just whisper in their partner's ear or some shit like that, which made just the illusion that they were communicating or something was going on. It's like, it adds a sense of realism. And it seems that's a way that WWE is going, like, you know, like with that NXT, with several injuries that have happened these days in wrestling matches, and how the referees jump in, they stop it, they check on the wrestlers. There is this sense of realism that is coming into wrestling again, and it's only when real shit happens in fucking wrestling again. I mean, unfortunately, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's crazy. But this match, I think, you know, I'm excited about where Enzo and Cass are going. You know, I like this team. They're probably going to make huge waves in WWE, but wait, there's more. I mean, the tag team division is heating the fuck up. Is everybody SAWFT
soft?
Is everybody? Who knows? Let's see.
Because we're not done talking about the tag team division yet. There's one more big piece of news about the tag team division coming up. Okay, so next Roman Reigns comes out and everybody still hates him. He still gets booed out of the building. He gets on the microphone and he does his "I'm not the good guy, I'm not the bad guy, I'm the guy" catchphrase, which really feels forced. It doesn't feel like something he's actually saying. It feels like something that they told him to say. And then the League of Nations interrupt him and they're like, "Why weren't we in the number one contenders match?" And Roman should have said, "Because you're all losers. You haven't won a match in like 6 months." But they say, "Hey, you know, we're like three of the best wrestlers in the company, and we kicked out Wade Barrett last week. He was the weak link." Okay. So we want a title shot. And Roman Reigns says, "Why don't you come on down to the ring and I'll kick your asses right now?" So they say, "Okay." And Sheamus and Del Rio and Rusev run down to the ring and they're getting into it with Roman. And then the lights go out, the lights come back on, and the Wyatt family's in there, and it's the Wyatt family and Roman teaming up against the League of Nations. And then after the League of Nations are sort of beaten out of the ring, the Wyatts are kind of slowly turning on Roman. And then Shane McMahon comes out, and he says, "Hey, I kind of think it's cool that you guys are fighting on the same side. You know, with Bray and the Wyatts and Roman, it's cool to see you guys teaming up. So why don't we keep this going? And tonight in the main event, we'll do a tag team match where it's two members of the League of Nations versus the team of Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt. We'll just book that for the main event, right?" And, you know, Roman and Bray do that look at each other like, "Oh, how's this going to work?" So there you go. That's the setup for the main event of the evening. Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt as the wacky mismatched tag team partners versus the League of Nations. And what did you think of this? What did you think of this, Doc?
Well, all of a sudden I thought their wrestling just went backwards. I mean, here comes Roman Reigns down in the ring, and yeah, aptly so, he's getting like just booed the hell out of the building by every single fan who realizes he ain't nothing but a piece of push shit anyways. And then he says, yep, I'm not there yet. This is the printed message I should write. I'm not a good guy, bad guy. I'm the guy. Because writers said that they can't write me as a good guy. They can't write me as a bad guy. But if I just go out and say I'm the guy, that'll be good enough. So that's the way I'm going now. They'll say they will have alternative ways to push me as it goes, but just kind of hang on tight. So that's what Roman Reigns does. He goes out there, he hangs on tight, and he says what he has to say. Freaking the nation comes down, and gets in his face. And Rusev is right. He would make a better champion than Roman Reigns. This is the thing. The audience is completely agreeing with every single wrestler. And then what's Roman Reigns says? What does he say? He's like, well, if you think you're big and bad enough, why don't you come on down to this ring? I'm in the mood to fight you. And everybody comes down to the ring and starts to beat the living shit out of him until the lights go out.
Yeah.
And here comes the Wyatt family in to save him. So the Wyatt family jumps in, saves him, and all of a sudden, and before Wyatt has a chance to devour Roman Reigns for the piece of fucking shit that he is, Shane comes out, says, I like what I'm seeing. Let's have a main event match. Audience boos the shit that Roman Reigns is in the match. Cheers the fact that Bray Wyatt's in the match. And when we get to the match, I'll point out the audience interaction because apparently every single last fucking one of them would make a better champion than Roman Reigns. I mean, it was sad. It was really sad. I mean, it's crazy. The WWE universe is unanimous. It's just not going to change. It's either he embraces this fucking hate or they take that belt off of him.
Yeah. I don't get why they don't turn him heel. I really don't. Because, and I know a lot of people have said for years that they should turn Cena heel, and I don't agree with that. But with Roman's not getting Cena reactions where like half the people are booing him and half the people are cheering him. Everybody's booing him, or they're just not doing anything. He's getting like universal negative reactions, and there's the elements in place for an awesome heel character there. I mean, if Roman Reigns came out and fucking just turned hard on that crowd and just got angry and showed some passion and said, you people, like, I bust my ass. I came out here. I defended the WWE Championship in the Royal Rumble. Nobody's ever had to do that before. And you booed me. I fought my way back through WrestleMania. I beat Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose in the same match, and you boo me. I fought my way all the way to WrestleMania, and I beat Triple H, one of the greatest of all time, in the main event of WrestleMania, and you boo me. The hell with you people. I mean, if he fucking cut that kind of a promo and just lost it, that would be awesome. And they would boo.
I don't know if that would sell. I don't think that would sell because people are too smart on fucking Roman Reigns these days. It's like, we know why you got those opportunities. We know why you won those opportunities.
No doubt. And that will always be a problem. But if people are booing him anyway, I mean, why not turn the motherfucker heel? And at least he's got good motivation to be a heel. I mean, yeah, you're right. I still think that he would have that problem where fans just wouldn't like him either way because they know that he's over pushed. But at least you'd give him a chance to do something different and maybe show a little fire and a little passion and a little personality, which he just shows none of. And plus his first title defense at the next pay-per-view is against AJ Styles, who is a babyface. Like, what's so fucking complicated about this? Turn Roman heel. He's fighting a babyface. He beats AJ, who is the beloved up-and-coming babyface, so people hate him even more. To me, it's a no-brainer. To me, it's like everybody hates him anyway. Everybody boos him anyway. Fucking turn him heel. Let him be a heel. Let people boo him. And, we'll take it from there. But I don't know. But anyway, I do want to say, though, the crowd reaction will probably be exactly the opposite of what they're hoping it will be. But if they're doing this thing with the Wyatt family where they're hoping to build maybe obviously not this month, but maybe next month to another Bray versus Roman match where, Roman and Bray will sort of be allies for a little while. Like they'll team up, they'll be on the same side, and maybe they'll start to kind of, get to kind of have chemistry together where they're a good team. And it's almost like they're starting to get along and be friends. And then Bray turns on him. That could be a good story, and that could give some interest to their match that they didn't have at all when they did it last year, when it was just a fucking horror show and nobody gave a shit about it. But I think all that's going to do is just make sure that that'll turn Bray babyface, because I think anybody who turns on Roman at this point is going to get cheered, you know. But I still think that would be a better basis for a feud between the two of those than what they tried to do last year. But who knows what their plans are? I have no idea.
Well, I personally think there's only one person in the WWE right now who could possibly turn Roman Reigns heel. Yeah, it's Ambrose.
You think?
Maybe Seth Rollins, if he gets back. You know, I mean, Seth Rollins coming back is a new element. You never know. I mean, you could add a little bit of spice into that mix. You know, I mean, try for a whole Shield reunion, and then Roman splits because he's bigger than that.
Yeah, something. I don't know. Well, I don't know. And part of me is interested because it seems like they're committed to Roman, and for some reason they're committed to Roman trying to do this tweener character where he's like, I'm not a good guy, I'm not a bad guy. Okay, whatever. That's not what you were saying a couple days ago when you were clearly a good guy, but whatever. You know, I'm interested to see where it goes, just because I've never seen anything quite like it, where a guy is the champion as a babyface who the fans absolutely hate. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with it. But I mean, I don't know.
I think it's going to be most interesting when Seth Rollins comes back, because we've gotten the videos of him training. He's obviously getting fit again. This was your champion before he got hurt. This was the champion. He by all rights should come back and get a shot at that title, because he never rightfully lost it. He had to abandon it. And so there's a good feud, you know.
And when he comes back, he's automatically a babyface. I mean, when Rollins comes back from injury, and not only is he coming back after being hurt, but he never lost the title. Mm-hmm. You know, he's a babyface.
You walk him out there, and Triple H and Stephanie walk out to accept him, and he rejects them almost immediately. Yeah. Bam, he's a babyface first night back.
Exactly. And he says, I'm not here to be your friend. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here for one reason, to get back my title.
Yeah. What did you do when I was gone? You immediately jumped on the opportunity to take my title.
Exactly.
Triple H. So there's plenty of wording there to play on.
He could even bring up Daniel Bryan. He could say, you screwed me just like you screwed Daniel Bryan. Mm-hmm. First chance you got to get that belt off of me, you took it, didn't you? You couldn't strip me of that title fast enough. So screw you, Stephanie. I don't want anything to do with either one of you. I don't need you. All I need is a match with Roman Reigns in this ring so I can get back my title. Boom. Money, 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 right? All right, so let's talk about this women's title match. Dr. Phil was at ringside, by the way. He was not on commentary. He was not mic'd, but he was just sitting there. He was watching. You know, because I guess, I don't know what, he's Charlotte's therapist now. Like he was just watching. Natalya versus Charlotte. They have a pretty good match. They go about 10 minutes. The finish is Natalya winning by DQ because Ric Flair interferes and pulls the ref out. But he pulls the ref out just as Charlotte was tapping out to the sharpshooter. So if the referee hadn't been pulled out by Ric and called for the DQ, Natalya would have won by submission and would have won the title. So Natalya kind of got screwed, which is a good setup for another match between the two of them, which I think is good. I like, because, you know, Natalya and Charlotte have good matches, and it's nice to see Natalya in the mix for a title for a while, because she was kind of forgotten about for a long time. And I have no problem with any of this. And then Byron Saxton interviews Dr. Phil again. And again, Dr. Phil cuts a good promo. He says he's disappointed in Charlotte because, once again, she relied on her father to cheat and help her keep the title. But he goes on to put over the women's division and says these women are going to show the world that they're athletes and they're going to revolutionize the world of sports. Mm-hmm. He said sports. He didn't say sports entertainment. And I thought it was great, because there's someone from outside wrestling coming in and guesting on the wrestling show and taking it seriously and pretending that it's real, because that's what everybody should do during the show. Is it should be 100% real. And that's what Dr. Phil did. And I thought it was good. And I thought the match was good. So what'd you think?
I thought it was brilliant. And the biggest person who is at fault here for Natalia's loss is Bret the Hitman Hart. Because let's face it, when it comes to comparing families, it was Bret Hart and Ric Flair. They're the ones that had the feud. So if you want to compare whose family is better, and Ric Flair is in Charlotte's corner, then Bret Hart should be in Natalia's corner. And if you're not, well, I'm sorry, but Ric Flair is the dirtiest player in the game. And referees are stupid. Believe me, I know. Look at me. I'm completely dim-witted, brain.
Yeah.
So, if you don't catch that little shit, and how did you not catch this little? Obviously, the referee was yanked out. He disqualified, which did not allow him to see that Charlotte tapped out. But then again, the cameras also didn't allow us to see that. So did she really tap out? Because the first thing we saw was the referee pulled out, and then him calling for the bell, and then they showed the shot of Charlotte tapping out. So, honestly, it was a chicken egg thing. It's like, how did that come? Because the announcers announced it that way, but they announced some stupid shit, which I'd like to get to here in a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I don't think we really mentioned it on last week's show, but a couple of people commented. I don't think anybody commented on our show about it, but I read some comments on other articles about it, about how they were upset that Flair factored into the finish of the match at WrestleMania. And they said that they should have just been a clean finish with the three women, and I can see that line of reasoning, but I also think that if you're going to have a heel manager at ringside, he should do shit to affect the match and to get his client, in this case, Charlotte, over as a heel. I mean, one of the easiest ways to get wrestlers over as heels and to get fans to boo them is for them to cheat, to win, and to win using nefarious means. So I have no problem whatsoever with Ric Flair cheating his fucking ass off to get Charlotte to win the match, because eventually he's going to do something that'll backfire and Charlotte's going to lose, and then that'll be a payoff. So I have no problem with Ric Flair interfering in the match. If he's just going to stand there and do nothing, there's no reason for him to even be out there. He should be doing stuff. He should be distracting the referee and grabbing the other girl's leg and doing all that heel manager shit. That's what he should be doing.
Right.
So I have no problem with any of that.
When you're a heel, it adds to the legitimacy of your reign, your longevity of that reign as a title holder, because let's not forget the greatest intercontinental champion of all time and all his great dirty tricks, the Honky Tonk Man. One of my favorite wrestlers, I tell you, man. Greatest intercontinental champion of all time. So a little underhanded. That's wrestling, That's the name of the game, man. When you can't lose, you must always cheat. That's shit.
Absolutely.
For heels, that's the way it goes.
Absolutely. It's a heel's number one job is to get people to boo him, and that's why you cheat. That's why you're a jerk. That's why you have a manager that gives you an unfair advantage. Like, that's part of being a heel. So I think it's all just that's what Flair should be doing if he's going to be Charlotte's manager and he's going to be a heel. All right, next is another match in the tag team number one contenders tournament. It's the Usos versus two of the social outcasts, Curtis Axel and Heath Slater, and the match ends with my favorite finish, the roll-up, after Heath is sort of distracted because the outcasts decide to take a victory lap before the match is over, because they're fools. And Heath gets rolled up and pinned by Jey Uso. And the match was nothing special. It was a couple of minutes. It was basically not that different from the Dudley's Lucha Dragons match from earlier. But just as with that match, the most important stuff happened after the bell. Because after the Usos win the match, they are attacked out of nowhere by two gentlemen who you might know if you're a wrestling fan. Their names are Luke Gallows, who I believe is a friend of yours, Doc.
He is.
And Carl Anderson, who are better known as the motherfucking Bullet Club. The Bullet Club have debuted in the WWE. They skipped NXT. They went right to Raw, and they looked great. They got a good reaction from the crowd. The announcers put them over as like serious guys. They did the bullet thing. the guns, their hand sign, and I thought it was awesome. And I hope that they have big plans for the Bullet Club because the tag team division could definitely use them. What do you think of this?
Well, first about the match. I mean, that was a no-brainer. You had the Usos against the Social Jobbers, and I expected the Usos to completely win that to move on in the tag team division. But and I already knew that they were there. So I knew they've been there for like the last week, ladies and gentlemen. So I knew their debut was imminent. And boy, did they get the fuck over. The crowd shouting, Bullet Club, Bullet Club, Bullet Club, Bullet Club. I'm sorry, we didn't trademark that, people. You're going to have to go probably with
Dollar Club, yeah.
We haven't made that official yet. Shut the fuck up. And here we are. Let's send these guys out who are completely the fuck over to beat up a babyface tag team and still get the fuck over. I mean, honestly, the WWE universe is heading into a smarter. This is the time of gray wrestlers, where there's no bad guy, there's no good guy. There are just fucking professional wrestlers, and you like who you like. Whether you hate this guy because he's shitty, you can have what personality you want to have, but it doesn't dictate whether you're going to be a good guy or a bad guy. Because there's people like me who will always flock over to the heel side because they're more charismatic. They're not selling to me. They're just being charismatic for the shits and giggles of it. Where the other guys are being charismatic to sell to me, to buy their t-shirt, to make some money. So there's a difference. That's why I always flock to the heel side. So, yeah, but we are entering into a different environment of wrestling fans where people just don't care about what allegiance you have. It's your persona, your actions, your ability. And that is what gets your respect in this business these days. And we're seeing more and more of that.
Yeah. And I like that too. I mean, that's one of the things that I think is cool about NXT. Even though NXT does have traditional heels and baby faces, the crowd cheers for whoever they want. I mean, you still have characters that are clearly good guys or bad guys. But I mean, if a bad guy is fucking awesome, the crowd will cheer for him no matter what. And, you have matches between heels and baby faces where both guys get cheered if it's an awesome match because the crowd is cheering for the match. The crowd's not cheering for one guy or the other. And I have no problem with that. I mean, that's not traditional. But as long as the crowd is into it and as long as the fucking show is over with the crowd, that's the most important thing. I think actually bringing them in and having them take out the Usos was good because the Usos are a babyface team, but they're kind of stale. People aren't really cheering for them anymore. So it's a good time. If you're going to bring in a new team and you want to get them over as badasses, fucking feed the Usos to them. The Usos aren't doing anything right now. The Usos can advance maybe another match or two in the tournament, and then the Bullet Club can run in and fucking take them out and cost them the title shot or whatever. Then you've got a feud between those two, and Anderson and Gallows can fucking kill them.
Are you kidding me? One of the Usos must be hurt after being thrown into the wall. I mean, that was vicious. And then the steps.
Oh, yeah.
If he doesn't come up with an injury and be out of the tournament, I mean, that guy is. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, will those guys take their place?
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, maybe that's what they're going to do. They'll do like the Usos won the match, but they can't continue in the tournament because Gallows and Anderson hurt them. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that's perfect. And then when they come back, they have the perfect excuse to start the feud on that. Yeah, that's a great idea. And even if they don't have them replace the Usos in the tournament, then the other team in the bracket gets a bye, and have that be a heel team. So they can get to the finals only having to wrestle twice instead of 3 times or whatever it is. That's really good. All right, now before we get to the next match, there is another backstage segment I want to mention because I thought it was funny. It was with Miz and Maurice, who is now back on TV as Miz's valet because they're married in real life. And there's a, they're doing the Hollywood thing. Like Maurice is yelling at somebody for giving her the wrong color M&Ms, and then Miz cuts a promo and then does another take, which I thought was funny. And then Cesaro comes in and interrupts the whole thing, and he says, "Miz, I'm going to steal your role as Intercontinental Champion." I thought it was good because I think Hollywood Miz is like the fucking cocky jerk who thinks he's a movie star is awesome. And Maurice as that heel, and just being like treating people like shit because she thinks she's better than everybody. That's great too. I think the whole thing is terrific. So, if this means they're going to push Cesaro and they're also actually finally for real going to push Miz, I'm all for the whole thing, because I think,
I am too. I mean, I think I'm not one for Maurice, but if they're gonna use her, I think that her voice is just slightly annoying enough. It goes up in high pitch, like Vicky Guerrero. It has that high pitched moments where she says things a little bit annoyingly because she's not American. I think that the whole colored M&Ms and what kind of water you fucking drink Hollywood bit thing has been so overdone.
Yeah.
We need to move on to like personal likes. I mean, honestly, Miz, you look like you're eating M&Ms, brother. You really do. Water, okay, but M&Ms, come on. Is this broccoli, organic? I only eat organic food.
That's a good
learn, brother, learn.
That's a good one, because then that makes him like he's like snobby about his food and he's a jerk because it's not quite right. Yeah, that's a man. I wish people from WWE Creative would watch our show, because you just gave him a much better bit to do with Miz next time. Have it be like healthy food, and he's all fucking snobby about it. Yeah,
plus it gives education and information to our young people who are watching the show that Miz is eating organic food. What's all that about?
Exactly. All the kids looking up to the Miz, going, I want to eat what Miz eats. Now they're going to eat M&Ms.
Yeah, you can put a special on your website. It's like, these are the Miz's organic food trips.
There you go. Oh, no, that's not. That's going to be an original series on the WWE Network. Because apparently they'll make anything into a show on the WWE Network. All right, now let's talk about this Styles versus Zayn match. That came up next. AJ Styles versus Sami Zayn. Awesome match. AJ wins with the phenomenal forearm. And if they are going to start using that as his finish, I'm totally behind that, because that is a beautiful move. He has incredible form when he hits that move. I think that if that's going to be AJ's finish now, that's just fine with me. He hasn't pinned anybody with the Styles Clash yet anyway. He's hit it like 3 times and he hasn't gotten a pinfall off it yet. So this was a really, really good match. I think it was the match of the night. I liked it better than the Owens Cesaro match, and just absolutely phenomenal. And Sammy lost, and I hate to see Sammy lose and take a clean pinfall, even, when he just got called up to the main roster. But on the other hand, AJ is getting the title shot. AJ, to me, should be untouchable until he gets into that match with Roman. He should not be losing or even really looking weak as far as I'm concerned. So I thought this was awesome, and I liked the finish. I liked AJ going over. And then afterwards, they had a backstage segment when they came back from the commercial break where Shane came up to both guys backstage, fucking congratulated them, said, thank you for a great match. You guys are awesome. You left it all in the ring. That's exactly what I want to see. And then they shook hands with each other. I just thought the whole thing was terrific. So what did you think of this, Doc?
Yeah, Shane was absolutely right. This is exactly what every wrestling fan wants to see. This thing looks like it was laid out on paper to perfection, and these guys just followed the script exactly. No mess ups, no stoppage, nothing. It was it was amazing. I've seen these guys work. I've seen these guys with the added guy of Kevin Owens and a triple threat. These 3 guys live. So I know what these guys can do, and it was great. No, there is no shame at all in Sami Zayn losing this match. Although it is I'm a little bit taken back because I kind of put myself in the mindset of What could that wrestler possibly be thinking? Here I have been sitting in NXT after all those years. El Generico got fucking finally called up, had to take my mask off, busted my ass in NXT, finally become a great person there, finally got my call up to WWE, and then all of a sudden this guy jumps over NXT into WWE, and I've got to do the job for him to get his WWE World Heavyweight Championship so freaking quickly after I've been busting my ass for how many years now? That is just intolerable. As a personal wrestler, I would be insulted by this, but Sami Zayn's in good position. This is why it's okay to do the job. He's in very good position.
Although, again, if anybody from WWE Creative happens to see this, Doc just booked Sami Zayn's heel turn, and it sounds pretty good to me. If Sami wants to turn heel and like maybe interfere and cost AJ the match against Roman at the pay-per-view, and then cut a promo the next night on Raw where he basically says everything Doc just said about how AJ leapfrogged NXT and jumped in line, and Sami's been busting his ass for 15 years and had to go through NXT and had blah blah. I mean, Jesus Christ. there's your fucking feud, you know.
This is why I'm a heel at heart, man, because I think of this shit, you know. I think of every wrestler as like, what is doing you wrong, brother? What's holding you back?
Yeah, and that's, to me, those are the best heel turns. When the guy has a bad attitude, the guy's being petty, the guy's, maybe he's taking something a little too much to heart, he's holding a grudge or whatever, but at the core of it, what he's saying is true. And if Sami Zayn turned heel and his beef was that he's busted his ass to make it to the main roster all these years, and then all of a sudden here comes AJ Styles, just signed right from New Japan, thrown right into the Royal Rumble, all of a sudden now he's got a title shot, he gets a singles match at WrestleMania. He doesn't get buried in a ladder match with 6 other guys. I mean, there you go. I mean,
oh yeah, and thanks for the opportunity to put me on Raw, but who did you put me with? John Cena? Thanks a lot. He fucking put me on the fucking injured list for 6 months. I mean, is that what was your plan? Because you're afraid I might steal his spotlight because I have, I don't know, 80 more moves than he does?
Come on. Yeah, see? Oh, I see. Now this isn't going to happen, and I'm going to be disappointed because that would be awesome. We're
going to start a Kickstarter. We're going to start a Kickstarter campaign. We want you to help us buy a wrestling ring. We're going to actually start writing our own storylines. I'm going to help book the wrestlers, and we're going to put on some of the greatest fucking wrestling shows you've ever seen.
Yeah.
We're starting a Kickstarter campaign. We want you to join in and help us make this happen.
It will be the best booked indie fed you have ever seen. Yeah, I mean, because some of it is just, a lot of it is just common sense. Like what Doc just did, get into the mindset of the wrestler. Say, holy shit, imagine Sami Zayn and what he would be thinking. Put yourself in the head of someone. It's all real. It's not fake pro wrestling. This is real. And what does Sami Zayn think of AJ Styles jumping ahead of him in line after he's worked his ass off? And there's your fucking story. It's oof. Oh man. That would be so fucking good. Okay. Now, next is Chris Jericho hosting the highlight reel, and he announces that he will have the greatest guest he has ever had on the history of the highlight reel, himself. And he interviews himself for a couple of minutes. He goes back and forth, like he faces one direction and then he faces another direction. And he talks about how, what a legend he is and how great his career is. And he sort of alternates from one side to the other. And this goes on for a couple of minutes. And then Dean Ambrose interrupts, and Dean Ambrose comes walking out with like a board under his arm and a potted plant in his hand. He made a stopover at Lowe's, I guess, on his way to the arena to get these props. And he walks out to the ring. He replaces Jericho's potted plant with his potted plant that he brought out. And Jericho's like, what are you doing, Dean? This is my segment. This is the highlight reel. I have this whole segment to myself. You're not welcome here. And Dean says, well, there's been a change of plans. He reaches into his pocket. He pulls out a speeding ticket that Jericho's like, this is a speeding ticket. And Dean's like, well, I need that. Give that back. Then he hands him another piece of paper, and it's a memo from Shane McMahon informing Jericho that as of right now, the highlight reel has been canceled and it's being replaced by the Ambrose Asylum hosted by Dean Ambrose. And Dean takes that board that he carried out under his arm and he tapes it to the front of the obscenely expensive Geritron 5000, and it's just, you know, Ambrose Asylum like written in magic marker on it. And he's like, okay, so now it's the Ambrose Asylum. The highlight reel has been canceled. I've never hosted a show before, so bear with me, you know. And he puts like a clip-on tie on and everything. Pretty funny. He asks Jericho about the scarf. He's like, what's the deal with the scarf? Jericho gets all pissy and protests, and he's like, you know, I'm a legend. You can't talk to me like this, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Dean says, okay, well, I guess you're not going to talk about the scarf. And then he DDTs him, and that's it. I mean, it feels kind of out of nowhere. It's like, oh, they're fighting over the talk show. It seems like, but Dean just got a talk show. It just seems like they kind of thought it up on the fly, but it was funny. I thought Dean did a good job, and I think Dean versus Jericho could be a good feud as long as Dean fucking wins some matches for once, for Christ's sake. So yeah, I think this could be a really good thing. What do you think?
Well, it's apparently, you know, and I don't watch every WWE programming, for Christ's sake, I have a life. Apparently that's some takeoff, and they mentioned it slightly about Chris Jericho interfering with some type of Dean Ambrose hurrah. And that's why Dean Ambrose is doing this in the first place. But yeah, it was kind of lame, and I really, it was just really to kickstart a new feud that we're going to get to see. But you know, if I was Dean Ambrose, I'd watch what I'm doing, because obviously Chris Jericho came off of a win. He beat the crap out of AJ Styles, the guy going for the World Heavyweight Championship. You know, and you just lost to Brock Lesnar, and you've been getting the shit kicked out of you time and time again. You really want to lose to Chris Jericho as well? I mean, hand drawn your sign. He has a nice TV up here, and you put us a hand drawn sign over there. Best line of the night: "Don't you touch my potted plant."
Yes.
I love that. Like, don't you touch my potted plant. But it was entertaining enough, but it was really just to sell the point that we're moving on to a new feud. Maybe, possibly, we can get Dean Ambrose to shine on this one.
That would be nice. Because he's about as over as anybody has been for being as much of a loser as he is. I mean, for a guy who almost never wins matches, he's still pretty over. So it'll be nice to see him actually come out of a feud looking good for once and win. You know, I mean, Christ, in all due respect to Chris Jericho, but Chris Jericho is a veteran, and at this point in his career, he should be putting guys over. So if Dean Ambrose can't beat Chris Jericho at this point, like, might as well fucking give up, you know?
Well, that man was wearing a $750 scarf. It's probably more money than the next loser in our matchups probably got paid that night.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Next match was Apollo Crews versus Adam Rose. Basically a squash for Apollo. Apollo pins Adam with the spin out power bomb. Just a match to showcase Apollo Crews and, you know, make him look good, which I have no problem with. It sucks to be Adam Rose, but you know, if they keep building Apollo Crews slowly but surely like this, I mean, for me, the best way to handle Apollo right now is to not even give him a story for the next month. Just have him go out on Raw and just have matches like this, just to put over how good he is and how talented he is, and then maybe try to ease him into a storyline with somebody. Because I had no complaints about this, you know, as being what it was. I think it's good to showcase Apollo. I wish they would do this for more of the new guys. You know, what do you think?
I want to see Apollo versus Ryback.
Oh.
See? I'm like, that I think is the match that we need to push to at this point. You're right. Let's not even talk about what he's doing, what his goals are. Let's just keep feeding him people like Adam Rose. Like, let's feed him all 4 members of Social Outcast. We can do that in 2 weeks' time. Just, you know, in SmackDown and Raw, just feed him all 4 members, move him on to something else, some other guys, as we building up Stardust, whatever. and then all of a sudden run into Ryback along the way. I think that would be a really good first main event feud for him.
I think that would be great. That'd be great. And, have Ryback come sort of run Ryback parallel and have Ryback on TV to do kind of the same thing, have him squash somebody every, once a week, just so we remember who Ryback is. And then, Ryback comes up to him, maybe interrupts him during an interview backstage. He's like, I guess you think you're pretty good, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be great.
I would love to see a squash off where both guys say, look, all right, big guy, you think you're so tough? Let's put 2 rings out there with both of us having an opponent that each of us choose for one another, and let's see who can get the win first.
That would be great. A squash off.
And the winner gets to pick the stipulation to our match.
Ooh, I like it.
This is after a few. This is after a few matches.
Yeah. Don't make this the first match.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hey, fuck it. All right. So now we come to the main event. The wacky mismatched tag team of WWE champion Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt versus the team of Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio. And the match ends with Bray pinning Del Rio with Sister Abigail after kind of spinning out of the attempt at the arm breaker from Del Rio. And while Bray is getting the pin, Roman spears Sheamus to protect the pin. Match wasn't bad, but the crowd wants absolutely nothing to do with Roman. They booed pretty much everything he did. They cheered pretty much everything anybody else did. Mm-hmm. So I just don't think it's working. And the thing I noticed once again, which happens, they do this to Roman all the time. He did not get the pin. He's the WWE champion. And I know everybody hates him, but one of the reasons why they hate him and one of the reasons why people think he sucks is because he's booked like he sucks. He didn't get the pin here. The other guy got the pin. Roman was the guy who kept the pin from being broken up. And he's the WWE champion.
Technically, if his timing was a little bit better, he could have jumped in, got the spear, and they could have got a double pin. Hey. But for some reason, it was a half second off, which led me to believe that it was supposed to be an identical pin. It was just off. Because why the fuck did you do that? There was no reason why you needed to cut him off.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it was supposed to be a double pin and somebody just fucked it up. Maybe Roman was a little slow or, but yeah, I mean, it makes Roman look bad, and they do that all the time. They did that last year when they were trying to build him up. They've done it a couple times this year. Well, they'll put Roman into a tag team match, and Roman does almost nothing in the match. It doesn't even get the pin. Mm-hmm. So that's what, to me, that adds up. That's one of the reasons. It's not the main reason. The main reason is he just doesn't connect with the crowd. He just doesn't have the personality or the chemistry with the audience that he needs to. But he's not over as a competitor because they book him with shit like this. He's in the main event match and he's not the guy who gets the fall. That's important. Like wrestling fans notice that shit. Mm-hmm. Fuck you. I bet your ass Hulk Hogan would have gotten the pin. If it was fucking Hulk Hogan and Hulk Hogan and somebody, Hulk Hogan's like, okay, I'm getting the 3 count, brother.
Yeah, either that or I'm not going out there.
Hey, Hulk, we were thinking maybe Macho Man would get the pin tonight. Doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah, either way, I'm not bumping.
Good, Macho can take the bumps too. Awesome.
No, it is a shame when every single person in the ring is more popular than Roman Reigns. Even the guy on the outside, Rusev. No matter what you do, I mean, the order of importance with active competitors were Bray Wyatt, Alberto Del Rio, Sheamus, and then Roman Reigns. That's probably the order of how people would have loved to see their champion, considering what I was hearing from that audience. You try time and time and time again to rub whatever fucking gold you can on Roman Reigns to get him to shine. You keep throwing people at him. And for Christ's sake, you threw Triple H at him because Triple H thinks he can make any fucking superstar, and he's wrong because he's not that superstar. But you keep throwing these guys at him, thinking that you're going to finally, break through, and that you need to abandon that, man. It's a sinking fucking ship. Matter of fact, it is sunk, and I don't know why you're playing underwater, because it's done, it's sunk, it's gone. You need to scrap it and re fucking start. I mean, make that shit. I mean, you thought we would feel better about this guy because he needed some nose damage. He's like, well, they'll feel better about him because he was out on injury. Now, that's not the injuries that we really, and we still wouldn't like him. I mean, the guys that we hate, we like more than fucking Roman Reigns. And we don't like those guys. But we're going to cheer them anyways because that's how much we don't like the guy you've been pushing at us. It is insane that you cannot grasp this concept, that you, for some reason, just, and I understand that you're just making a TV show. You'll give us whatever you want to. It's not really in our hands. But time and time again, you just shirk and look down your nose at us fans who tell you directly, live shows and all, that this is not the guy that we want as their champion. And if you think that putting Shane McMahon in charge the last 2 weeks of Monday Night Raw has helped you, Monday Night Raw ratings were better last week than they were this week, although the show this week was better fucking wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, another point is the pay-per-view is 3 weeks away, and the main event is AJ versus Roman. And AJ and Roman didn't do anything together this week. They were completely separate. And when they finally do bring those two together, which maybe will be next week, well, they'll actually have AJ and Roman do something together to build up their match. I mean, you think Roman gets booed now? I mean, when Roman gets booed when he's in there with heels, just think how hard he'll get booed if the guy across the ring from him is AJ Styles, who is not only a babyface, but is a really hot over babyface that people really like and are really hot on because he's fresh. I mean, it's like polar opposites. You have Roman Reigns, the guy that everybody hates and can't stand and is sick of, and AJ Styles as the hot new guy that, hasn't been around, isn't tainted. I mean, that's, maybe that's why they're trying to keep him. Maybe that's why they're trying to keep them apart, But other than that, I thought it was like you said just now, Doug, I thought this was a really good episode of Raw. Some really good wrestling, some good storyline advancement. It feels like they're starting over. They're doing new stuff. They're not just trying to, keep the old shit going like they had at WrestleMania. It's really good. I really like a lot of it. I just don't get what the fuck they're doing with Roman.
Yeah, with the lack of a few tag team matches, it's nice to see the Matadores coming back up. I don't know. I guess they might be called Shining Star, but they have the whole Puerto Rico. It makes me want to go to Puerto Rico. I swear to God, it does look beautiful, does it not?
It does.
But I'm glad we've heard rumors that this was happening, that they were repackaging them, taking the mask off of them, and giving them more legitimacy, which I'm glad for them.
Yeah.
So what their names are, I don't know if they're still going to be Epico and Primo. But that was things we missed on, that they did do their vignettes during Monday Night Raw. Yeah, absolutely. I thought this was a really good, top-notch episode of Raw. We didn't have too much bullshit and yada yada.
Yeah, really good episode. Before we end our episode, do you want to tell us about the Legend of the Week?
Absolutely. Let's talk about the great wrestling manager of the world. He is also a pro wrestler, but that's how we get into it, do we not? Jean Gagne began his career in 1971 in Quebec and in Stu Hart's Stampede Wrestling. In June of 1977, Gagne, under the name of Frenchie Martin, won the IW North American Heavyweight Championship in Trans-Canada Wrestling. In July, he lost the title to Leo Burke. And let me stop there. If you ever wonder who these guys are, when I say he lost a title to Leo Burke, and you stop and go, who's Leo Burke? Maybe you ask that question, and maybe that guy will be our next week's legend, because I've already checked him out. He has a bigger list than this guy. So Let's continue. In Stampede Wrestling in February of 1976, he held the Stampede Wrestling International Tag Team Championship under the name of Don Gagne. In October 1977, Gagne, still wrestling under the name of Don Gagne, won the Stampede North American Heavyweight Championship in a tournament final after the former champion, Dan Crawford, retired and vacated the title. In January, however, he lost the title to old rival Leo Burke. Crept up there again. Gagne defeated Burke for the Stampede Championship in November 1979, but lost it to Mr. Sekagawa, because it sounds really cool, Sekagawa, in December. Meanwhile, Jean Gagne also wrestled in Puerto Rico's World Wrestling Council under his own name, and in the first half of 1978, he and partner Huracan Costello traded the WWC World Tag Team Championship with the tag team of Invader One and Jose Rivera, holding the title once. He also held the WWC Caribbean Heavyweight Championship and the WWC North American Tag Team Championship. The latter he held 4 times. One of the times was with Michael Martel as partner of a tag team called the Mercenaries. While in Puerto Rico, he wrestled Ric Flair in a match to a 60-minute time limit draw. Gagne also wrestled under the name of Mad Dog Martin in Australia and the South Pacific. And it has a S-I-A. It's different. Australia.
Australasia, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
Australasia. Yeah,
Thank you.
Sometimes people say that for like the whole Australia area. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And South Pacific during a mid they spelled this mid-late 1970s. Mid of late 1970s. On September 28, 1978, he won the NWA British Empire Commonwealth Championship from Stephen Rickard and defended the title for several months before dropping it to Leo Burke the following year. Martin debuted in the WWF in October 1986. Initially a full-time wrestler, he would primarily be used as enhancement talent, losing the majority of his matches. In August 1987, he began to be the host of WWF's skit Le Studio, presented only in Canada during Superstars of Wrestling. Martin began managing Dino Bravo in late 1987. During his alliance with Bravo, Martin regularly carried a sign down to ringside that read, "USA is not okay." In March 1988, he managed Bravo at Wrestlemania 4 in a match against Don Morocco. During a rematch at SummerSlam in August, Martin distracted Bravo's opponent, Morocco, to allow Bravo to get the victory. In October, at the King of the Ring, Martin managed Bravo in a win over Jim Duggan in a flag match. He also appeared at Bravo's side at Saturday Night's Main Event 17, Roman numerals, fuck you. I'm German. At the end of October for Bravo's match against Ken Patera. On Thanksgiving night, he also appeared at Survivor Series. It just says he appeared for some reason. At the Royal Rumble in January of 1989, Bravo, accompanied by Martin, teamed with the Fabulous Rougeaus, but lost a 2 out of 3 falls match against Jim Duggan and the Hart Foundation. At WrestleMania 5 on April 1989, after Bravo's match with Marvin attacked Garvin. As a result, Garvin performed his signature move, the Garvin Stomp, on him. Bravo eventually dropped Martin in favor of Jimmy Hart. So yeah, this is whole his managing career in WWE. So he's about to be ousted. Later, Martin appeared as an occasional enhancement talent on WWE Weekly, WWF television broadcast, reviving his initial role with the company when he joined the WWF in 1986. By mid-1990, Gagne retired and eventually became head booker for IWA PR. He still makes guest appearances for indie shows across Canada and the U.S. Outside the WWF, in Montreal's Lutte Internationale, in January 1984, Gagne won the Canadian International Tag Team Championship with partner Pierre Laferriere. I'm being ignorant, I know. From the team of Gino Brito and Tony Barisi, but lost them in a rematch on February 20th. In June, Gagne and Laferriere won the title back, but lost it to Raymond Rougeau and Jacques Rougeau Jr. in the beginning of July. In 1980, under the mask, this is outside, yeah. In 1980, under the name Mass Cyclops, Gagne won the NWA Pacific International Championship from Toru Kamada, but he lost it later that year to Sibiafi. At the International Wrestling 2000 card at the Center Pierre Chavarania, Gagnon as Frenchie Martin managed Richard Charlin in the semi-main event against King Kong Bundy. Yeah, fine. He has his son and nephew who has wrestled Jean Gagne Jr. and George Martel. He was managed, wrestlers he managed was Abdul the Butcher, Dino Bravo, and Joe Leduc. Oh, Joe Leduc. That's a good one. But yeah, that's my legend of the week. He's a French guy, and sometimes French look down their nose at Americans, but for the most part, they have some famous wrestlers. Most of them live in Canada.
Yeah. I remember Frenchie. Frenchie's someone I didn't know a whole lot about his career other than when he was a manager in the WWF in the 80s. So it's cool. It's a lot of stuff I didn't know. One of those guys. There's so many fascinating characters from the history of wrestling. And you can always find someone that you didn't know a whole lot about. Like I remember Frenchie very clearly, but there's a lot that you said that was news to me. So that was really cool. Well, shit, man. Do you want to wrap this baby up?
I shall wrap this baby up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us on an episode number 99 of Wrestling with Wrestling. Next week is episode 100. And what does that mean? That means maybe we're going to have something a little bit different for you. I've invited my good friend from Elite Pro Wrestling Alliance, owner and former wrestler, George Davis. He's going to be joining us. Also owner of Calling All Heroes comic book shop up toward the Cumberland area. He's going to be joining on next week's episode. We're going to be talking about Elite Pro Wrestling Alliance, some of the guys he worked with, his career. We're going to delve in deep with this guy. So that's what you can look forward to if we can get all that worked out. But that's what you can look forward to. If you have any questions, make sure you ask them after this video. Make sure you subscribe to this guy's page. Get a little bit of that cash out, become a Patreon of this guy. Will you? Don't make me come to your house and get it out of you, all right? Go to our Facebook page and like that shit too. Send a like. Find out who next week's legend's gonna be. All I gotta say is Tiny Kangaroo Down, spool. Does that give you a clue? Until then, I'm Doc Gregory. This is Steve Shives. Thank you once again, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week for episode number 100.